Good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, February 7th, 2019. You're listening to Radio Free Radford.com. I am Dustin Staples, your commander of weather and some daily, whatever you want to call me. I'm your daily host here with you every day, 10 to 10:30, sometimes 10 to 11, depending on what's going on. If you have not done so, and if this is your first time listening on, I hope I didn't scare you away by singing off. I hope to goodness I didn't. I had a little fun here. I'm trying to get things going and rolling and ready for our Friday tomorrow. Be sure to like us on Facebook at Radio Free Radford. Also follow us on Instagram at Radio Free Radford as well. You can also check us out on Twitter at Radio Free Raddy. That's Raddy. You can get the latest information on Radio Free Radford around campus and a lot of fun stuff as well. So, alrighty, getting things geared to the weather. This morning it's mild. It feels more like April than it does February. I stepped the door this morning about 10 to 8 this morning, stepping out, and it was warm, and I had a little light jacket on. I kind of almost need to take it off because it was so warm out there, and it's gradually warming up today. We'll get up to maybe 75 degrees today. Again, slight chance of some morning rain here. We'll see that. Maybe records possibly in the making. We'll see how this works out. We'll see what the National Weather Service has to say. If we kind of tie or get near a record high temperature, temperatures will be falling back down to the mid-40s this evening as we started our cold front coming through the area once again tonight. So again, we'll see the record warmth today, and our cold front comes through. Our forecast high will actually take place around midnight. So that's pretty much where we're going to be standing at right that, and that's where the 40s is going to come back into play for sure. Switching gears now to, let's see here, we're going to get off the website and turn things over to your quote of the day. I say the word of the day every day, I think. And I promise you, Webster's Dictionary, it's going to be some point I'll pull up your word of the day. It may not be today, but it'll be your quote. I'll pull your quote of the day up. Let's see, website, I had to refresh here. From yesterday, the limits of the possibility can only be defined by going beyond them into the possibilities. That is by Arthur Clarke. And today's is by Alan Alda. Be brave enough to live your creativity, the creative place where no one else has ever been. So there you go. There's your double quote of the day. And your national day of the day is, let's see what we have here, National Periodic Table Day. So chemistry folks, I know there's chemistry majors out there. A good friend of mine actually is a chemistry major here at the university, and so, or studies chemistry, I guess I should say. And he was telling me that he doesn't really care for the periodic table. I said, well, listen, I'm your guy, because you have hydrogen and helium and lithium and beryllium, boron, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. Let's see, there's a song to it: hydrogen and helium and lithium and beryllium, boron, carbon everywhere, nitrogen all through the air, oxygen so you can breathe, boron, fluorine for your pretty teeth, neon to light up the sky, and sodium for your salty times, magnesium. There you go. I think that's the first 11 elements of the periodic table, and gold, uranium, plutonium, and so forth be it. So I kind of, brought you in singing, and I'm going to leave you out with this. It's also National Fettuccine Alfredo Day. I love me some Alfredo. The noodles and the Alfredo sauce is the best part to it. Maybe some vegetables mixing in with it. It's also National Send a Card to a Friend Day. And we often think about our friends. Of course, I do all the time back home in here, and of course, that's a good thing to think about. We wonder how they are, miss them, and remember fond memories of what they have shared with us. You can also observe this day with a friend to send them a card and to let them know that you are thinking of them. It's always a pleasant surprise to receive a card from a friend. So here's what you can do. With the technology that we have, you can also send these things called e-cards. So if you don't have, maybe you can't go out and purchase a card today, you can go online and make one, and you can buy them online too that way, and you can whichever way you choose, you can set aside a few minutes today and write a little short note or a long note depending on how long you haven't seen this friend, or maybe it's just someone you're trying to catch up with, and you can check that out for National Send a Card a Friend Day. And within the research, let's see, they were unable to define the creator of who found it today. So it is an anonymous source of someone that created a wonderful idea that was thinking about people that lived along the East Coast and maybe sending something across the world or the West Coast or whatever they may be. And so how about that? That's your National Day of Day. Let's see what else we can find for you. It's also National HIV, AIDS, and Awareness Day. This is a very important day, especially to our health, and it's a very big concern still to this day. Obviously, the epidemic has sort of decreased, thankfully, over the years. So this is maybe you're trying to help somebody. It's actually African American National HIV and Awareness Day. So how about that? And so it's the fight against the epidemic of trying to stop prevent the prevention of HIV and AIDS. Just in 2012, the FDA approved the Oral Quick in-Home HIV test. It's an oral rapid reacting test that results in about 20 to 40 minutes. In 2010, President Obama AIDS initiative, as you recall, announced that the ambitious initiative to curb the HIV/AIDS epidemic by reducing the new HIV infections by, get this, 25% within 5 years. So that was obviously 2010. Health importance is the key for sure. All right, moving on to some weather news. Across yesterday, NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, released some data regarding the warmest year again on record. This is now the 10th warmest. 2018 was the 10th warmest year on record. Of course, temperatures were well above, I think it was about 2 degrees Celsius. Now, you think that's not a lot, but in perspective, with the global impact that the weather is changing at a rapid pace, and how it seems like warming is continuing to occur, this is continuing to be an issue for a lot of folks. And those, of course, people like to debate climate change, global warming, the government's controlling it. I'm not getting into that topic today, but it's just going, that, we are warming and we see it every day, and we are cooling every single day. But 2018 became the top 10th warmest year in record again. Also, something this is something I enjoy watching about every night is the. If you haven't done so, this is pretty much giving a shout out and promoting WDBJ7's Weather Talk Live on their Facebook page. Every night at 9 p.m. They do a Facebook Live, and last night Chief Meteorologist Brent Watts from the WDBJ7 station in Roanoke does the live weeknights normally, and sometimes it's other. They have different meteorologists that come on in the weeknights, on the weekends, I should say. And so last night I was watching it, and they were mentioning about ticks and can you get rid of ticks? Well, here's what this is not. This is not credited to me. This is credited to Channel 7, WDBJ7. Brent Watts posted this last night on Weather Talk Live. Basically, they were referring to get rid of ticks. Basically, they remain dormant in leaf debris until the ground thaws, so they're not anywhere. They don't go anywhere, I should say. They remain active when the temperature gets above 45 degrees, and then obviously sudden extreme cold snaps is best for getting rid of the ticks. So like last week, we had that brutal, just extreme air around the U.S., and if there were ticks anywhere, I think they may have already. They were, kind of like the Ice Age, for example. If you've seen the movie Ice Age or one of those frozen cartoon movies, they go in the water and they pop out like they're in the block of ice. Pretty much how this worked, and obviously there's not enough warming to keep an installation in them, and they just kind of die off with that. So the cold air is good for it, and also a big drought. Of course, a couple back in 2010, I think it was, or maybe it was 2014. I don't know. It's been one of those years we had this long duration of a drought. 2012, I think it was the year, was the largest one around the U.S. that impacted it, and ticks, pretty much they died, and they were away for a good chunk. So we either have one or two options to get rid of them: just extremely cold air, and then or a massive drought, which hoping to goodness never happens. Let's not do that. Now, what pretty much keeps the ticks around and they don't pretty much die off? Rain doesn't really kill them, which is kind of interesting. So, rain doesn't really, because it's moist in the atmosphere, and they kind of feel that warmth in it. And snow really doesn't bother them either. So they can stick around. Like I said, they can dormant in the ground when it's snowing and stuff, and they'll stick. And next thing you know, you have ticks in the middle of winter, and like we do right now, thanks to this warmth spurt here on the East Coast, and resulting into a lot of this warming taking place. And so there you go. And of course, the Midwest and western parts of the United States are facing some just brutal cold temperatures and snow out there. And we're feeling more like spring than anything else. So, it's this February, like I've said this several times already, it just seems like the past several years, every February seems to be warmer than it should be. And every time in March, I kid you not, we either get this big blockbuster snow that just pays us back for all this warmth that we had, or we'll get some snow and then it just gets brutally cold after the effect. So we're going to see what happens. Maybe next week, the potential for a little bit of light precipitation. Winter frozen mix, maybe. We don't know. Models are still all over the place. So there's hope. Maybe, maybe not. Main concern would then be freezing rain. So that's something we got to worry about. If that does hold true and everything comes together, we'll see what happens. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up here this morning. Our Space is reminding you the Black History Month, as we'll be celebrating that all month here at Radford University, is Your History at the Bonnie Cafe today from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. So later on tonight at the Bonnie, obviously down right next to the Recreation Center, head down there and you can paint your history, excuse me, for Black History Month, and take care of representing, of what it means to you. And the Chi Alpha Sigma celebrates Black History Month and all the men and women who have influenced change, progress, and policy for African Americans. We celebrate the authors, innovators, educators, entrepreneurs, activists, and much more. And of course, they gained and gave a voice to emphasize change and from Black Americans. That is from the Corazones Unida Semper, the Chi Alpha Sigma National Latin Sorority Incorporated, putting that quote out there this morning. You can follow them on Instagram at CUS_Alpha Sigma, and that's something that was just trending just moments ago, actually, while we were on the air. How about that? Alrighty, folks, we're going to wrap things up here with you, and I mean it this time. I think I've already said that twice, or now this is the third time I've said it. And later on the show today, on this Thursday, let's see who we have. We have Linwood Walker from 12:30 to 1. You can catch Jessie Taylor with her show from 2:30 to 3. And obviously Allison Shiner, her and her co-hosting. I think her show has now been moved to Tuesdays at 1 to 1:30 or 1:30 to 2. One of those time slots. And let's see, who do we have here today? I think that's about. And then Ray Amano and Benjamin Dubuque from 5 to 6. You can catch them. They talk about some space talk, a little bit of science fiction, fantasy type thing. So if you're interested in listening to those shows, you can tune in from 5 to 6 here on the New River Valley's hit music station and the heart of the New River Valley, Radio Free Radford.com. And follow us on social media. Also follow RU Weather 1 on Instagram and Twitter for all the latest weather and some school information that is being tweeted as we speak. And a lot of great things are continuing happening here on the campus. Enjoy your Thursday. Tomorrow, cold front comes through, knocking our temperatures down, way down from the 50s to the 30s in the afternoon. Wind chills will be a concern, between winds gusting between northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour, may higher gusts at 30, depending on where you're at, as overnight lows will fall to the teens and single digits at the start of your weekend. And of course, it will be possibly a rainy one, and maybe some sunshine possibly. We'll see what happens, but again, looking rainy, dreary, cloudy, and all that cold stuff that you all enjoy. I don't know. I prefer the snow over the cold, but you got to have the cold in for the snow. And that reminds me, if you haven't got your flu shot yet, you need to go and get it now, because this is the time to get that. I know you're saying, well, Dustin, the flu season's about over with. No, it's not. It goes around all year if you think about it. And so far this year, many people have died from the flu. And wash your hands. That's very important, to keep sanitizer around with you. And a lot of that, touching, just pick up germs just like that, and it's not worth risking your life and accidentally sticking, put your finger in your mouth after touching, say, a hospital bed, or keyboards maybe. That's why we say kind of wash them down once we're done. And mouses and phones are the phones are the number one dirtiest thing now besides a toilet. You would think a toilet would be dirtier. No, a phone has more germs than a toilet. Wrap your mind about that, and the amount of sicknesses that has happened in this world. And here we go, we have a phone that's producing millions and millions of germs a day, a second, a millisecond, a nanosecond. Okay, you get the point here. Have a wonderful Thursday. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Next week, maybe we'll try to get some guests on. Maybe who knows, I might get one on tomorrow. We'll see what happens here, and continue to listen to great hits on your Radford University station, RadioFreeRadford.com.